Aside saying God when after every single bad friendships, I've also said what's next during every phase of my life. No matter the achievement, big or small, I would barely enjoy the moment. I would enjoy it briefly. I might enjoy it briefly, very briefly, and then it's what's next? What's next after writing WAEC? For those of you who do not know what WAEC is, it's spelled WAEC. WAEC is an examination that is written by students in the western part of Africa, that's in West Africa, from countries like Nigeria, Ghana, the Gambia. These countries, once the students are done with their high school or their secondary school, they take these examinations. These examinations are exams that the WAEC itself, rather, it's an exam that a student must take if they want to go to university in Nigeria or if they want to pursue their degrees outside the country. It's an internationally recognized certificate. Then there is also NECO and JAMB. These two examinations are examinations that a Nigerian students would have to write if they want to pursue, degrees in Nigeria instead. So it's been what's next after WAEC, what's next after NECO, what's next after JAMB, what's next after getting that admission that I had been praying day and night for? What's next after every single achievement I've gotten, big or small? What's next now that I'm almost done with uni? What's next? What's next? What's next? Welcome to Almost 20. And today we'll be talking about celebrating your personal achievements. First of all, what are personal achievements? Let's kind of understand what this entire thing is before we dive into it. So to put it simply, personal achievements are successes in your personal life. That's it. There's no too much grammar, no too much language into it. It's just successes in your personal lives. Now, these successes can range from career achievements like landing a new job to health and fitness, like losing weight, to academic achievements like passing an exam or passing a challenging subject. And usually, these achievements, these personal achievements, they are often a result of hard work and determination, no matter how big or small the achievements are. Now, what I found particularly interesting was the fact that while, preparing this topic and while, researching about it, I found a couple of people, there were a lot of conflicting opinions. People had, I wouldn't call it conflicting, but there were a lot of varying in varying opinions. There were a lot of diverse opinions as to celebrating achievements and accomplishments. And even when I asked my family members, everybody had their own opinion or their own idea of how best they celebrate their own achievements or if they even celebrate their achievements at all. I went online and I was going through conversations with people about this, about them celebrating their personal achievements, right? And some people were surprising to me because I believe in, celebrating your achievements. It mustn't be a party, but at least having this fulfillment in yourself. And I was surprised to go online and see people who wholeheartedly in their hearts believe that celebrating your personal achievements is not something that a person should be doing. That, to them it's on to the next. That celebrating time or bringing out time to celebrate their personal achievements is something that would even take time in their life. So they rather just achieve something and then what's next? Achieve something. Just like I was saying in the beginning of this episode, what's next? To them, that's it. And they strongly believed that, while some other people, they believed that celebrating your success is very important because it kind of reminds you of how far you've come and your strengths, and it's really good to at least remember and celebrate your achievements. So there were conflicting opinions. There were this group of people who believed that celebrating your personal achievements is not necessary, and it's even something that is taking time out of their life. And there were other people who were in support of it. Now, I personally, I would say that I hadn't always been eager to celebrate my personal achievements. I've always kind of believed in celebrating the next moment while the current moment was happening. And I did try a couple of things to be more mindful about my achievements and my success. I did try it, but I didn't stick with it. I did journaling and a couple of stuffs, but I'll talk about it later in this episode. But I had to sit down recently and, you know, try to think why it's been that way. Why I've always been the kind of person who really doesn't count his achievements, or at least have it in his mind that, it's you celebrate and you be fulfilled in the moment of achieving something, no matter how big or small it was. I had to sit down, and I guess I could just come up with one reason, if I would even call it that. I don't know. But I had to think to understand why I do not really celebrate my achievements. Like now, it's not as if I'm this person who's, always brooding and I don't really feel happy. I don't feel emotions at all when good things happen. No, that's definitely not the case. I do feel excited. But it's so that I feel like there's this sense of not being fulfilled in the moment. There's this happiness, yes, but there's this feeling of what's next, like I said earlier, and I had to try to understand why it has been that way for me and the effect I feel it's having on me. Why why I feel like it's been that way for me is that I feel like maybe if I truly enjoy something, like if I truly sit down in the moment and I tell myself that I did this, I achieved this, I should be happy about this, and I should stay in this moment and I should enjoy this moment as it's happening. That moment might not last. That's what I came to figure out that I believed. I totally and completely believe that if I was happy and if I tried my best, or if I became fulfilled in a moment of me achieving something and me being happy about that thing without worrying about anything, just being happy in that moment might not last. I feel like something bad, something horrible might happen. Maybe that achievement might even go, or it might be reversed, and I'd feel somehow. I don't know why. Maybe there's something deeper into this, but I'm definitely not going into it today. But that was the reason. That was the only reason I could come up with me not wanting to celebrate my personal achievements, even when I mentioned that I had already started something earlier to try and work on it, but then I stopped. I'll talk about it again in this episode. Now, I feel like the effect that this, should I call it a mentality, or this not celebrating personal achievements mentality had on me was that instead of enjoying the present moments, I was busy thinking about how more enjoyable the next moment would be. Like I spent my time thinking of what's next. Okay, what's the plan going to be like? How happy would I be in the next moment? How fulfilled would I be? Maybe in this next moment, I'll probably get myself something. Maybe in this next moment, I'll probably treat myself to something. Maybe in this next moment, I'll probably post about it. This is too small, right? And what's this? The result of this kind of mentality was that whenever I then looked back at my achievements, if I eventually did remember them, whenever I then looked back at it, I ended up, reminiscing on it, and I'll be like, wow, this actually happened. Like, this was a good thing. Like, this was really good. Why wasn't I so happy? Like, why wasn't I so excited? Why didn't I even, celebrate it like as much as I would have wanted to celebrate it? I don't know if I would have wanted to celebrate it like that, but I just feel like, wow, like I wish that I could even get this kind of achievements. I don't know. Does that sound bad? Does that sound as though achievements, you should be happy with current achievement, not reminiscing on past achievements? That doesn't signify growth, does it? But what I mean is that I look back and I start missing those moments. Let's remove achievements, but personal success, maybe even if it's connections with people or enjoying a particular moment, I look back at it and then I start to, miss those moments, wishing I was there. But in those moments, I was wishing I was where I am now currently. So you see, it's like this loop of being tied, this emotional loop. That's the effect it had on me. So when I, was working on this topic, it really did hit hard for me. And I was like, you know what, Martins, it's time to work on this. Literally, it's time to work on this. Let's try to be more appreciative of our achievements and our successes, no matter how small or big they are, you know? So this really hit home for me, and I would want to work on it. And so to work on these things, I decided to start something and I would share it with you guys. You know, I initially mentioned in the podcast I would share what I had been working on, which included journaling. I would share what I had been working on. That when I started it, it helped me to become more appreciative and celebrative of the present moment. So what I did was this. Around 2 months ago, I don't remember the timeline of it, but I think it was about 2 months ago. I decided to start something, right? I had this journal, this small journal that I had with me. So what I was doing was this. I would tell myself every morning, I would set a reminder on my phone. The reminder would have this, write up that's like, remember three things that you're appreciative for today, or just keep in mind of, just, basically remember three things that you're grateful of today, you're appreciative of today. And when I wake up in the morning around 7 a.m., I would receive the notification and it will be at the back of my mind, and I will not cancel the notif. It will just be there on my notification panel, the notification center. And then I would go to school. And while in school, on my way going to school, my mind is active. Like I then keep my eyes and my mind peeled to looking for things that I appreciate or I'm grateful for. Now this even shifts from academic or some big achievements. These achievements are little, and you listening, you might consider them funny or somehow. But I started small to just start being grateful for things, right? What I did was this now. I get to school on time. I remember that that's one thing. I maybe submit my notes or I was able to do well in a particular test that happened today. That's number two. I say three things. I said I'm starting small. I was able to get a shuttle to class on time. I made it to class on time. I maybe did another thing. I was able to get go to buy something and I came back before a lecturer came in. That's an achievement, right? I was able to go home before the rain started. That's an achievement. So I kept on doing. So when I get back to the house, I have these achievements in my head. They are just there. And then I go back to my journal and then I write today's dates, right? And I write number one, things I am grateful for. And then I start, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for making it to the shuttle and it was able to take me to class on time. I'm grateful for passing this test. You see, so I did those things for let's say 2 weeks max. I know you're probably disappointed, like, what the hell? This sounds good. Why would you stop? I don't know why I stopped, but I just stopped. But looking back, the results this thing had, the effect of doing this thing, being mindful of little things was that before I did these things, looking back at my achievements or looking back at my days, I really didn't see them any. I didn't really see anything in them, and I wasn't even looking forward to get up to go anywhere or to do anything. But when I had this mindfulness, when I was practicing this mindfulness, I was eager to get up and go in my day, looking for things that I would be grateful for, right? And when I looked back on them, when I looked back at the journal and I saw the things that I was grateful for, I felt this warmth in my heart. I felt happy, seeing that there are these little things that I was grateful for that I was able to note down. That even when I go back to look at them, I still remember them. And instead of thinking of the stress I went through that day, I end up having in my mind just the things that I'm grateful for that day. It kind of changes this mindset slash perspective shift that was amazing. And so that's what I did. And I think I'm going to start it again. I'll probably update you guys on it. But I think that's what I'm going to be doing because it's amazing. I cannot overemphasize the importance of journaling, guys. Like, you should definitely try it. This particular thing I'm telling you, especially when you want to start celebrating your achievements, if you want to start it in terms of journaling, this this method is an amazing method. It's actually tested and trusted. I did it before and it worked out for me, and I've told you guys the results and the effects. I want to start it, and I would appreciate if you can start it with me and we'll do it together. And maybe we give it 2 weeks again, but this time we'll still remain consistent. But 2 weeks to kind of see the results. It's amazing being mindful and grateful for little successes or little achievements or even big ones, but noting them down. The thing with journaling is that when you note it down, You might forget them, and on your bad days, you come back where you feel like you're not achieving anything, or you feel like the world is against you or something. When you come back to those, when you come back to that, when you come back to that journal and you open it and you see the pages, you see these dates, you see something like February 6th. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. Today I felt this. I'm grateful. When you go through all of them, you would see that you've really come so far. So all of this I'm just saying is it's an amazing experience, and I'm starting it because I want to try and be much more mindful of my achievements. And it would be amazing if you could start with me too. Now, here are some ways that you can celebrate your personal achievements. I would list some of them, and you could decide if any of them are methods that you think you can apply into your life, or you could use to try to be more mindful or at least appreciate your successes. The first one is reflecting through journaling. Like I said earlier, I'm always going to stand by journaling. I think I'm going to stand by journaling till I take my last breath. That's how dramatic. That's how strong I believe in journaling. Keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who hasn't always been consistent with it. It's kind of like I'm doing it somehow. It's like an inconsistent consistency, but I do it. I still do journaling. So if you decide to do your reflection through journaling, you could start by reflecting on the process, by writing down the process of how you were able to achieve that goal. you know if you could write down how you prepared for it, what you did, how you felt even before achieving that goal, the entire, like the procedure, the should I can we call it a behind the scenes, you know basically the events that led up to you achieving that goal. You could write it down, express how you kind of felt during those moments, and even talk about how you felt when you achieved that goal that you had been working on. you know for me now, recently, I became an ambassador. I was selected as an ambassador to represent my university for a financial tech company, right? And I decided I was going to journal about the entire process because it was a nerve wracking one. From the process of applying to the process of consistently receiving emails about steps to take. It was really, at some point, I even kind of lost hope that I wasn't going to be selected. So fast forward to now, whereby I am officially an ambassador alongside some other selected ambassadors from my university. Writing about this, how I'm going to go about this is that I would first of all write down today's dates at the corner of the page. I'll write down the dates, and then I'll start by talking about how I felt, even how I was able to find the link to apply. I'm going to write down a lot of details as to how I felt before even applying and even after applying, and how I felt when I got it. Write down all this little success, just feel it and pour it out there on that journal. And you'll be surprised, some days later, when you come back to it, you would go through the emotions again when you read that thing, seeing how you pour it raw into that journal. You know, I believe journaling is amazing in the sense that you can get to look back at your achievements and feel some sort of motivation and feel inspired to even set more goals and achievements and accomplish them. You get what I'm saying? The next way you can celebrate your personal achievements is not everybody's favorite option, from what I've discovered. It is celebrating with others. Now, it's fine if you feel like, you don't want to celebrate or share out your achievements with other people, and you just want it to be something that you want to celebrate by yourself and for yourself. That's fine. But if you do decide to celebrate with people, or if you're fine with celebrating with other people, then you can use it as an opportunity to share that news to all your friends and your loved ones and to people who supported you. And use it as an opportunity to thank people who you feel supported you or played a role in that achievement. They kind of made it possible. They played a role in one way or the other in helping you to achieve your goal. So that's an amazing way. I think it's good. I personally share some of my achievements with my close friends and family members because there's this sense of bond. There's this strong bond with them celebrating with you, being happy with you. It's an amazing thing, you know. Now, the third way you can celebrate your personal achievements is by treating yourself to something you'd enjoy or by buying something that you'd like. I did something this year on my birthday. I bought myself an AirPod, and it sort of relates to this celebrating something. And to me, I considered my birthday a special event in my life. And I realized that I hadn't gotten myself anything. It wasn't like I was working or I had some sort of cash and I was like, oh, I hadn't gotten myself money with all the. Nah, I decided to just do something special for myself this year. And so I saved up and I did enough browsing. I took my time. This was a wonderful moment. I took my time. I was browsing online, asking questions and doing everything. And this time it felt good because I wasn't doing it for anybody. I was doing the shopping for myself and I got myself nice AirPods that I still use till today. So I'd definitely also recommend this to you. Just getting something to celebrate that moment. It might not be something expensive. If you have the money or you have the capacity to, get yourself something expensive, then yeah, sure, go for it. But even if it's something edible or something materialistic, something that you could look at and remember that achievement that you were able to get, or that event or that special occasion that has to do with you yourself, if you could do that for yourself, then that's a good way of celebrating your personal achievements. Now, let's talk about the benefits of celebrating your personal achievements. Some of the benefits of it is that you could serve as some sort of inspiration to other people. When people see you celebrating your personal achievements and they've seen how you put the work, and they see you celebrating and living in the moment, it could inspire other people to actually do the same thing for themselves. And let's be honest, wouldn't it be great being some sort of inspiration for somebody to start celebrating themselves? The second benefit would be that seeing those small accomplishments, let's say this is in respect to journaling now, seeing those small accomplishments that you made along the way can motivate you whenever you feel down and it can make you feel successful. You feel like you've actually achieved some things. I particularly resonate with this. Some days I feel down, some days I feel like I haven't achieved things, I haven't achieved much. And then I go look at where I've written down a lot of my achievements and I instantly feel inspired. I instantly feel wow. Like I always say wow whenever I look at my journals. I don't look at it and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. I've actually, gone through this stuff. I've actually gotten these achievements. It's motivating me. It would kind of boost your self confidence and you feel more grateful about your goals rather than feeling, like you haven't achieved anything. And it will also help you not to be jealous because when you constantly have a reminder of your achievements and your accomplishments, there will be no need to feel jealous when another person is achieving something of their own. You would even feel happy for them. You would be proud of them and you would even understand what it takes to achieve those things, right? Because you've gone through it, you celebrated yourself, you would also be able to celebrate another person. You see? So there is an importance to it. What I would say is that celebrating yourself and all the things you've achieved and you've continued to achieve, it puts into perspective how amazing you really are, and how far you've come. And it lets you plan for things. It kind of lets you plan more things for yourself because seeing how far you've come and all the things that you've been able to achieve, it kind of motivates you to set goals for yourself, you know? So, in as much as I've always been the guy who's always been saying, what's next after this? What's next after this? I'm trying to live the next moment. I'm trying to live in the next moment instead of enjoying the present moment and appreciating what I've achieved so far. I'm trying to see what I can achieve in the next moment and how happy I would be achieving that thing in the next moment. I am trying to work on that through journaling, like I mentioned, through some other techniques that I will probably discover and we'll probably talk about later on. I'll probably give you guys an update about it. But one thing I encourage you guys to do is to always celebrate your achievements, no matter how big or small they are. You know, one thing I'll tell you is that you should try to keep track of your achievements and go back and look at them and see how far you've come, because this life is too short to be living in the next moment and worrying about the next moment. I am going to start doing that, and I hope that you could join me on this journey. I hope you can join me on this journey, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it turns out great, and we start learning to appreciate the present moment and appreciate our current success and our achievements. You know, so while we're doing this, feel free to message me on Instagram and let me know how celebrating your personal achievements have been for you. And if you tried the journaling method I talked about, I hope you did. But just feel free to message me on Instagram and just let me know how it has been for you or how your personal development journey has been for you so far. We are going to figure this out together. You're not alone in this journey of self-development. Let's all figure it out together, you know? And that's all I've got for today, folks. Thank you for listening. As always, I appreciate you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow the podcast. Don't forget to click the notification bell beside the follow button if you're listening on Spotify so that you get a notification anytime a new episode drops. Don't forget to rate this podcast. Like I'd always say, 5 stars or nothing. Check out the Almost 20 podcast on Instagram at Almost 20 podcast. The link is in the episode description below. Follow me on Instagram at underscore Guy Martins. Once again, the link is in the episode description below. New episodes every Sunday. And that's it, folks. I'll see you next week, Sunday.